You know what time it is. The door has been closed. You know what that means. My family is asleep and it's time for another video. What's up, everybody? I just wanted to say thank you for the amazing feedback. It's so nice to see everybody so enthusiastic about getting some insight on the behind the scenes of developing some of these pops. And I wanted to say that I don't only work on One Piece pops, surprisingly. And I figured now would be a good time to jump into like my top 20 favorite pops that I designed, which was actually a really hard list to put together because um, it just so happens that pretty much every single top 20 of my pops that I've designed now and present day have not been announced. All of the stuff that we're working on right now, insane. But these, it's just really hard to like hand pick all of those ones that are long behind me now. But I feel like there's a good amount to say about each of these. One thing I learned about my last video is I dragged the opening and the ending on a little too long. So I'm just gonna cut the yapping and we're just gonna get into it. Before we get into it, I just wanted to grease the wheels with this. Tell me, how in the world did this make it past all the relative channels for it to be made? Like, if I'm looking up, so you can see in the manga page that he's doing exactly what the figure is depicting. The only problem, they unfortunately decided to add a tip to the blast. Like, look at the shadow. Did they have to use like an overhead light? I say let's get into this. I'm gonna talk about my top 20 favorites, and right off the bat, we got my guy, new 6-inch Broly. Really love how this one came out. I didn't get a chance to make the first 6-inch Brawly, and I really wanted him to look very different from that one because the original ask was to just like put him in a Goku pose. Something you'll learn about me is them Goku poses are very like, you need to know when to use them. 'Cause it's very easy to overuse that pose. You can end up basically giving the entire Dragon Ball line the Goku pose. Basically this pose right here. I can't even tell you how many times I've been requested to do a pop in this pose. I really do my best to look for something that is like unique and something that can really appeal to the character at hand. So for this one, typically when I'm looking for reference to do posing, I am like looking in between the frames, dude. I'm like in the weeds. This one, that one by the way, is the I think it's a Gogeta chase. There it is. So pretty much this exact frame right here. This review is not about Gogeta. It's about Broly. So this is where it's at. You got Broly running. He does his little stompy, and then they do a little like a shimmy dance. And then in this very moment, he starts building up this blast, and that's where you can see that's where the pose came from. I took a little bit of artistic liberties here to try and punch up the blast and make it a little bit more interesting. So you got the light beams kind of holding up and supporting the crazy swirly effect that's happening around the blast itself. You got this little ring, little energy sparks coming from it. This was a sculpt by Annalisa. It came out wonderful. What else is there to say? It's Broly. I was happy that we finally got the movie. It took so long, but here he is. Next up. Okay. This one right here, you guys. Let me go get. I have this pop in my office because it's like, it's one of my faves. What can I say? Sculpted by Ivan, by the way. Love Ivan. Great. Amazing sculptor. Very talented. What you see here in this sculpt, like a lot, most of this is Ivan. Like what I basically gave him was Chainsaw Man in this pose standing on like a brick shaped amalgamation of pop heads. Very like square shaped body of pops. But I think I called it like the meat mound is what that's what I was calling it during the development, was the meat mound. And Ivan, being the genius that he is, took the meat mound, he rounded it off, took the blood splatters that I wanted to get the blood splatters in there kind of shooting out. Another detail about this was we were a little worried about the zombies looking like little pop babies, and because the scaling of the zombies had to be brought down obviously to turn it more into a base. Man, Ivan freaking took that direction and made these little creepy guys look absolutely like little pop zombies. Little like scaled down pop zombies instead of Chainsaw Man just like going ham on a bunch of babies. And each spurt of blood here is like an extra thing that needs to be plugged in, so it's just like an extra cost. So we had to be mindful of like keeping it in the target cost while also it's a pop deluxe, like making it big and epic. And I think Ivan freaking delivered. Look at these little hands coming out from the meat mound, you guys. Like this shit right here gets me going. It's like those little details that make it look like it's a breathing, moving mound of corpses and zombies. You got a little hand right here, kind of tucked in the back. Oh, look at that. Look at that silhouette. I wanted to pluck out particularly three little zombie pops to really like break the silhouette of the meat mound. And yeah, dude, this freaking thing ended up so cool. And it to this day I think is like literally one of my favorite pops. Forgot to mention, I think this list is probably it's not going to be in any sort of order. It's just I just grabbed 20 of my favorite pops and pretty much ran with it, but I think this guy is like ooh, like top 5 just because of how amazing it came out. So good. It's just so Chainsaw Man. Altogether, the composition itself, it just like is a 10 out of 10. I mean, you got the blood spurts coming out on each side, but then there's 2 blood spurts on the left side, so it like really adds to that asymmetrical feel to it. You got the blood coming up, that's coming in front of his leg and kind of breaking that up. His hands are like out, his chainsaw's going up in the air. In a way, really, the composition is almost like eye candy in the way that it kind of is like circulates your eye around it, taking the blood spurts, going up the zombie, going across the chainsaws, you're down back into it, and then up to his head. It's just really good. We're moving on to the next one. We got Daki. I don't have this one here with me. So once I found out that this Daki got upgraded to a deluxe, I was like, bro, we need to lift her up on her Obi Sash. And let me real quick pull up the reference. Here was the frame I was able to pull. She's got her arms out, got her knees up. The one thing, if I had to say one thing, I'm sad that we had to end up going with the flight stand to keep her up in the air. I was like kind of hoping that the sash itself would be able to support her, but understandably, that's a lot of mold up there with the head and the hair to keep stabilized and balanced. Sometimes you just gotta stick a flight stand on it to make it work. Pretty cool Daki, turned out really good, and yeah, I thought the team did a great job on this one. One of my faves. Moving on to Muichiro. Now, interesting thing about this guy, the first Muichiro we did, I didn't have much to work with at the time. It was just really, we got him added in the only season we were on, I think was 1 still, and all we had to really use was basically the scene where they're at the temple towards the end of the season, and all he be doing is standing around. I typically like to introduce the Demon Slayer characters in like a fun, exciting, like fighting pose or something, but this is the one we got. And that's why this one just means so much more and is so much more exciting to me because he was able to use his mist. It was a pop plus, so I was able to really like work in a lot of his effects, get his mist in there, and also you could tell like similar to the Zoro and the King directional sort of composition happening with the mists all like going in a certain direction along with his hair. Carla sculpt. Carla, another legend. Just really happy with how this one came out. You know, you could really feel the motion in this one. Shout out Muichiro. He finally got his flowers after standing so still for so long. This one I threw in here just because, you know, I already told my story of the One Piece pops and y'all already know it. I'll put a little card, a little video card right here for those who haven't seen my One Piece video. I really go into depth on this Sanji one and I just really liked it because it was the first time that I understood One Piece after like a long struggle of not understanding One Piece pops. This Sanji was the first one I developed with like the character in mind. I knew who he was. I was really happy with how it came out. Good pop. One, oh, yo, you guys, this Gojo, this Gojo was like a benchmark. You better believe this Gojo is on my shelf right behind me because this thing, like I said, was a benchmark in creating effects in bases and pop deluxes and all that. I was just so happy with how this one specifically came out because I really feel like we successfully captured like an actual big anime move because these anime characters be doing like massive earth shattering moves that are kind of hard to depict with pop figures because for the most time it's just the figure, but once I get a deluxe assigned to me, I'm like, okay, it's time to really show the power behind the characters that I'm designing here. He's sending out a freaking hollow purple and the earth is like shifting around it, and I was so freaking happy with how this came out. So good. You can see the ball itself is translucent, so it has like a beautiful sort of sheen to it. We ended up reusing this Gojo from a previous one, the Gojo mold, and that just gave us the cost to really play around with the base here. So we were really able to go like crazy on this one. This one holds a special place in my heart personally because this was like the first time that I was really able to like break myself out of the confines of costing and everything and just really unleash with my like artistic vision to make pops like just these insanely cool statues that have effects and environmental immersion and everything and really incorporate the pop within the world. So cool, Gojo. Love him. Even the render is like so good because you're gonna notice one thing with all these pops is a lot of the renders are not forward facing. Most of the time, it's mainly because I really need to like shift the perspective of the concept, the front view of the concept, to really get more of the body and the effects in there sometimes. But typically, the protocol for concepting pops is to do a front view. Can you imagine if I just like concepted it like this? So I had to concept it to a side as the render depicts to be able to capture as much detail as I can. The effect specifically you can see has like a lot of depth to it. Shout out Sarah Gassman for doing the colors. You can see there's like a layer of black rocks. When I had to do the concept, I had to break it down in layers. So I started with basically the outer shell layer, which is the sand and the gray rocks. And then you got the inner shell layer, which is the black floating rocks, and then you got the actual like swirly purple ball. So all of that put together creates this base. I just love this one. It just came out so good. All right, next. Okay. This Deku right here, I can't like I don't even know where to begin. This whole arc, this whole like story of Deku's where he just like spirals into like a vengeful mess is like literally the coolest arc in all of My Hero Academia. I read My Hero Academia like pretty much from the start and I loved the story. I loved the art style. In fact, Kohei Horikoshi is probably like my main inspiration behind my style now. I wasn't really like initially in the beginning, I didn't really care for Deku. He was just like kind of a main character to me. But then when it got to his freaking vigilante arc, it was like, okay, Horikoshi's art is like leveled up completely. He's like changing the whole entire art style to depict this arc, and it looks so freaking good. It's a lot more scratchy and very almost berserk like. I remember reading this arc. I was like on break at work at that time, and I was probably concepting a Deku that was like 3 seasons prior, and I was reading this arc on the manga, and I was like going crazy because I was like, oh my god, when we get to the freaking vigilante Deku pop, it's gonna go so hard. And I knew exactly since the moment I got on the page, he's like walking through the city. I'll put a little picture right here, and he's like walking through the city and he looks freaking so dark, and I was just like, since that very moment I was like, that's the panel that I'm gonna do. The side view is literally my second favorite part about this whole pop. I actually talk about it in an Instagram reel. He's like leaning forward with this like urgency to go fuck some villains up. He's walking in some puddles to keep him stabilized. Originally, I thought the black whip tendrils were gonna keep his walking stabilized, but we had to add a little bit more of a extra detail of the puddles, which I think adds to it because bro is walking in the rain. The rain adds to the scene. It really just all layers itself on top of Deku's shoulders. You know, bro's got the entire world on his shoulders and he's just trying to fight Shigaraki and kill him. The dark spray on the little ears, the smaller eyes, because if you look at the design for Vigilante Deku, his eyes be small, bro. The outfit itself is actually like tinted darker. Another Sarah Gassman color job. Just amazing. Amazing pop. Love this. Beautiful. Dropped off my shelf a couple times and some of the tendrils broke off and that was a little heartbreaking, so I had to use some super glue to put back in, but he still lives. And I have a really freaking awesome, super sick Dark Deku statue up there. And I literally concepted this with like 5 or 6 Dark Deku statues in front of me because I had all of the existing Dark Deku statues at the time. Because as soon as like this came out in the anime, I was like, fucking give me all of the Dark Deku statues I can find. I love this arc. I love this character design. I almost wish that he just like kept the mask on for the rest of the story, but I understand there was the time and place for this moment. Kind of wish that the Vigilante arc was a little longer, but Really, that's all I gotta say about it. Another Carla sculpt. She absolutely killed it. Sarah killed it. And I'm just like proud of everybody that worked on this one because he looks really sick. We got Shigaraki. Tomura Shigaraki. Here he is. So this one and the one prior. Here, wait, let me pull up. He had his hand down, so he's like using his decay to like blow up the earth. This is like during his like big villain metamorphosis, and he was like laughing and basically destroying the earth, and it was like a big moment. I loved this one, and I was like, how am I gonna top this? And then we get to this one, dude. Another Carla sculpt, another Sarah Gassman color. Ooh, so I got some things to say about this Shigaraki. Let me pull up some of the reference here. This is the screenshot. And if you have read the manga, this specific 1 second, just once have pulled up the panel from the manga because it's just like honestly, it's like 10 times more visceral than the actual screenshot from the anime. Look how scary he is. Like what is going on with his mouth? You can't even make out what's going on with his mouth, and because of that, it makes it even more scary. A slightly more scary panel like over here. Dude, he's just a lunatic. He looks so feral. Were kind of impactful moments for me when I was reading the manga. This was their depiction in the anime. I mean, truly does not like hold up to the level of the manga, but that was the panel that I wanted to capture for this one. That was the pose reference. If you look at his face, I had to like go with a couple layers to give him that like sort of detailing on his face. Again, shout out to Sarah for pulling it off because it looks amazing. But basically what I wanted to do was give him that darker layer, that kind of darker shadowing over at the top of his head, and then put a spray around his eyes, and then put the white eyes, get the scratches like detailing around his face. And then on top of that, he had his scars on his mouth and his eye, and he had his mole. And dude just had a lot of stuff, a lot of deco going on his face, and I really think that it freaking looks so good. Another thing I wanted to touch on was this freaking base, dude. I love this base. This was the base reference. This was the base reference right here. This was like right before he like shoots off to go fucking find Deku or something. I tried to make sure I got that shockwave, the like sort of jumping shockwave, along with the smokiness happening around it, along with the freaking shattering mountain. Carla took that idea and nailed it. It's so good. I love this pop. This is my like it's hard to say this is my favorite My Hero Academia pop at the moment. I don't know if it's Vigilante Deku or this Shigaraki, but this whole set, honestly, this set is just it was fire. It was fire. I was really proud of everybody and happy that we all like freaking crushed it on this specific My Hero Academia set. On to the next one, y'all. Here we go. We got freaking Haku from the new set. The new classic Naruto set. This Haku it's had kind of a long story. So originally, the Haku was concepted without all this greatness around it. It was just the Haku in that pose, as you can see. It was a Haku with Haku's feet like coming out. It was basically that exact pose, but without the ice mirror and all the ice and everything under it. Then Haku got upgraded to a plus, and we were able to pull this off beautifully. Shout out Sarah B for doing the colors. She killed it. I mean, this is a Carla sculpt. What do you expect? You got Haku coming out of the ice mirror. You got the detailing of the icicles like breaking out around him. You got the feet as a beautiful digital print on the piece, illustrating the fact that it's the reflection, showing Haku coming out of the mirror itself. You got the mirror coming up, the base of it with some icicles coming out. This one looks so good, which is really funny because I think this is like honestly my favorite Naruto pop out of all of the Naruto pops we've done. And like Haku is like literally a real quick character for his super short arc, but we just fucking snapped on this one for some reason. But yeah, really happy with how this Haku came out. Hanji. If I could just tell you how many times I watched the scene of her like cutting up all of the Titans in that final movie. This right here was my reference sheet for this Hanji right here. I got like damn near every single frame from this moment. All of this craziness, she like as she's going through killing all these titans, her cape is like slowly beginning to burn up. You guys just like watch this scene. If you haven't seen this scene, I don't know how you haven't seen Attack on Titan by now, but just watch this and just enjoy it for the like cinematic masterpiece that it is. There's a moment where she goes on the floor and kind of slides between all of the titans, and it's like the most coolest shit ever. I found this frame right here. I was like, I can't really depict this into a pop, but I'm absolutely gonna screenshot this and put this in the reference just so I can look at it. She's like here, she's like sliding through. You can see the legs of the titan. Now I want to get into one specific tiny little one frame moment that gave me the idea to put that beautiful swish coming down, and that's this right here. Look at that. You see how that blood is coming out and just creating like a beautiful arc? I took all of that reference, tried to concept a pose that best depicted her basically in action with her swords, cutting people up. She has this like amazing arc sculpted by Ivan, by the way. Another Ivan sculpt. He, earlier I showed you the Chainsaw Man. This was an Ivan sculpt, killed it. And so as you can see, there's the smokiness. There's like sort of a radial spike pattern coming around her. Really love this Hanji pop. It was just announced, so I figured I'd stick this in here. In the back, you can see her cape is burning up a little bit. She's got some motion in her hair. I actually concepted this also at like a 3/4 degree angle, but they ended up going with the forward-facing render. Which personally, I think the 3/4 degree angle is a little bit more immersive than the forward-facing on, but you know, Funko needs that face-forward render, and that's the brand. Sometimes they let me break it, but they typically like to stick with the forward-facing look, which understandable. You know, we've laid the foundation plenty. So here you go, buddy. Did you want in? Ooh, here's Senshi. He's my sweet boy. Oh, oh, oh! See these claws. He doesn't know how to use his claws, so he can really mess you up. He's a good boy. Look at him kneading in the air. He loves being pet so much that he'll just start kneading on command as soon as you start petting him. Right in my belly, dude. He's grabbing my belly with his claw. Such an amazing piece, and yeah, on to the next one. Armored Titan. This is from the same set. I figured I'd put both of these in here because I am pretty excited about this upcoming Attack on Titan set. So this Armored Titan, it was a risky one. It was kind of scary because I just decided to do a full redesign from the original pop. I'm really happy with how it came out. The smoke is pretty cool. It looks a little bit milky, I will say. There's like a milkiness to it. Like he's just like jumping out of a bowl of cereal or something. I wanted to try to get the steam in there because bro is always like steaming and there's steam coming off of him. His face is like totally redesigned. He's in an action pose. He's big as hell. I'm happy with how this one came out. Worried with how the reception was going to be because it is like a full redesign from the previous Armored Titan. Sometimes I'll try my hand at fully just like taking a whole different perspective to something instead of just being assigned a pop that we've made previously and basically iterating on top of the one prior. Usually it's from like 6 or 7 years ago, and at that point I'm just like, let me just do my full vision on this one. So I'm happy with how it came out. I hope other people like it. I'm a little nervous. I haven't seen much of the response for it. But you know what? If it flops, that's okay. Because we be making these so often that it's like I just gotta live and learn. I'll learn from my mistakes, apply that feedback going forward, and just be the best I can with everybody's feedback. And so that is the Armored Titan. These two are from the new Attack on Titan set. Very happy about it. This Bakugo. We're gonna start getting into pops that are like super old because we've pretty much like gone through all of the pops that I'm really super duper excited about, and now like at this point I'm just like kind of not really sure what else to add to my top 20. I decided to add interesting stories in particular that I feel would be kind of insightful for you guys to hear about. This was the Bakugo, I believe, that came after the OG Bakugo. Look how shiny his fur is. He's such a good kitty. He cleans himself so much. So, ooh, I forgot about this. Soda Bakugo, dude. Like 3/4 jaw, 1/4 face. Don't even get me started on Deku, on the Deku soda. I'll let those anime sodas live on their own. I won't bully them. Okay, real quick. Let's just look at the Deku. I'm sorry. Like the Crimson Chin cosplaying Deku. We got this OG Bakugo. He's cool. He is basically what a pop is in 2016, 17. They're just kind of standing there and they are of the character. And I feel like with this one, they didn't really get the hair right on this initial one. That's why with this one, I decided to go with like a full redesign on his hair, give him like an explosive base, include the quirk, include the mask, update the hair, give him a dynamic pose. I was really super excited about how this Bakugo came out. The only problem, and I'm just gonna say it, is all of the Bakugos that came out after this one, they all kind of look the same, you know? There's not much difference happening. Oh, maybe this was the original one. I don't actually remember which one was the first one. This was the base one. And then you got this one that's like in his UA uniform. You know, it's not that much different. He's wearing the uniform and doesn't have the mask. And the eyebrows are a little too light, so they're kind of getting lost in the skin. I do like the blowing up effect coming from his hands and like attaching to the base. I think that's fun, but like this one is just kind of, he's on a freaking flight stand, which just takes him down like 20 points immediately for me. Just a little too similar. I think the base is not, the base just doesn't really look good. It almost looks like chocolate frozen yogurt or something. I just wasn't a fan with how the base came out. He's pretty cool. He's got his winter suit. I just don't know what happened with the base. It's just too big. And it's too big and like just there's nothing else happening. It's just there's like a giant scoop in the middle. I do want to take accountability. Like I did design all these. I feel like I designed the base a little bit more compact. This is just a little out of hand. That's how all those Bakugos came out. They all kind of look the same after the first redesign. Hoping if I ever get another Bakugo, I'm gonna just go wild different with it. He's just got the same hair in all of them. It's just a little, it's just a little redundant. I'm gonna make sure to fix that next time I get a Bakugo. Trust me, I got you. I got you. But I need to put some accountability on the table so I can like make sure that I get it right next time and make it different enough to add to your collection and not make it look like a line of dupes. So that's my interesting story about Bakugo. Next up, we got Penguin Park Anya, dude. So cute. The original ask for this one, Spy X Family. You could see it's on the internet, it's out there, with the hat and the little outfit. And I felt like we already have an Anya, we have the base Anya just kind of standing there, and I wanted to add a little bit more charm to it that could really make people want to get both. And so I put the penguin in there, and there's a very specific scene. This is the frame that I pulled. I thought it was so cute. With that frame, I was like, this is the one. I need to somehow make the pop sit on top of her body and the penguin's body and just make it look like she's cuddling with it, because I really think that this would be a very far difference from the other Anya that we are releasing or released or whatever. It's coming. It's coming. It's on the internet. Sculpted by Anissa, absolutely killed it. Colored by Sarah Gassman. It just works. It's amazing. Love this one. Next. Maki. This was the first time I really went for it with the like swooshes and everything, and you're gonna see it also on the Tengen Pop. I think the composition is just really cool, how it's basically a moon shape behind her. This fight right here, much like the subtitle says, incredibly strong women in anime, love that. And Maki is one of those. And so I wanted to celebrate this scene, and so I was watching this scene frame by frame. This part specifically, ooh, look at, like, that's a really cool pose that I wanted to go with. But then milliseconds later, there's this one. This one right here. And you can see, like, and it actually kind of holds the animation on this pose for a second. But this one specifically, I liked the hand up as a detail. Oh, so cool. Such a cool scene. And so I wanted to make sure that that was depicted in the pop. There's a Maki statue out there right now that I want so badly. This Maki statue, you guys, I'm getting this shit one day. The one thing that I think is like kind of silly is, why does it need that like giant acrylic piece holding up her staff? I don't know why it's there. I mean, obviously maybe it has to be there to stabilize it, but it just is a little distracting. It's a little bit distracting. As far as this statue goes, this is like my all-time favorite Maki statue. So sick. But we're not talking about statues. We're talking about pops. We got Shinobu. Honestly, not much to say. I just really liked the pose. I really liked the base. I thought this one came out great. I loved the butterfly effects, and the sculptor Kelsey, I believe Kelsey was the one that worked on this. She killed it. She unleashed. Kelsey has since left Funko and started her own company, which is Found Family Adventure Crafts, where she creates little super super cute minis for D&D. And like, look at these things. I got a couple. Look at how fun and creative these are. Like little jetpack mice, dude. So cute. Check out her website. Maybe pick up some of her awesome D&D sculpts. She sculpted this Shinobu. It turned out really good, and that's all I gotta say about that one. Next, we got Itadori. Specifically, I wanted to put this one here as just a representative of the rest of the paint set. And at the time when it came out, the response was a little lukewarm. Why are they doing this paint set when, like, I think at the time, like, season 2 was just starting to air or something, so everybody was like, yo, like, what the fuck? Where's the season 2 looks? That's just the design cycle. I mean, unfortunately, if I could have any dream, if I could have any dream come true with my time at Funko, it would be to release pops as the season is airing. I got my boy Nate in merch. He's doing some heavy lifting to be able to make that possible. So shout out to Nate, absolute legend. He is the guy that plans a lot of these anime pops, and I just want to name drop him because he deserves the credit. He watches all these animes. He really like tries to get to know every single character that he's slotting just as much as I do what the best representation of this pop is going to be. He's on top of it if we ever make like a pop that looks a little too similar to another pop and it's the same character. There was this one time with Yuno. I think there was a Yuno pop that came out from Black Clover that looked very closely to another one, and the next day it got announced. He called me up and he was like, "Hey Chris, what happened here, buddy?" He is making amazing moves when it comes to anime at Funko. The rest of them, there's a whole set. I don't know if you guys know that there's a whole set. Megumi. So me, you're gonna learn something about me. I like arcs. Visualizing arcs through different interesting immersive ways using effects, bases, little details. Nobara, we did a Gojo, we did Itadori, we did Megumi, and they all look so good. I thought they came out amazing because this was like the first time that we like really played around with an anime license and kind of deviated from the actual source material, and we were able to just like kind of work within the confines of the anime but with different designs and stuff, and I thought it came out really well. Go back to this Itadori pop. He's the only one that actually had like a little bit of a paint base going on. I love the way his like orange paint kind of goes it like orbits around him and then like trails off on his brush. Next, we have one more Itadori pop. Throw a shout out to everyone that worked on the Shibuya incident arc. This I put in here mainly just as a poster boy for the entire set. I thought the whole set looked good. And everybody that worked on it, we had Ivan, we had Carlo, we had Aiden was in there. Yeah, just like all of these looked so good. I loved how every single one of these looked, how they came out. Like Ghetto with Dragon, like absolutely crazy that we did something like that. I think that was our first pop premium where like the box is a little bit bigger, so he was able to fit. People seem to be a little, you know, the smile felt a little uncanny to people, which is understandable. However, like the scene itself is like his smile is almost uncanny, and he's like not speaking, and he's just like kind of a zombie form of himself. Yeah, I feel like truly the uncanniness of the smile did transfer over to the pop. I understand the feedback that it does look a little weird, and maybe it could have looked better without a smile, but for this one, I pushed for the smile. The main thing that I really loved was that it is a running action pose. It has his little triple nunchuck things like kind of coming up and around him, and he's running on water. I had to fight to get this water base here. I mean, initially it was just like gonna be like a water droplet situation like Deku, or he was just gonna be like on a flight stand and it was like colored blue or something, but eventually, at the end of the day, we got the water base approved, and it was massive. It was huge. It was exciting. Freaking Gojo being imprisoned was really epic. I love his hair. I just want to tell you real quick, I'm very particular about each and every Gojo hair. Every single version of Gojo's hair is new because I love Gojo's hair. It's has so much life and character to it. I love his like sort of pineapple-y style where it just like is spiked up everywhere. I love when he's got his mask on and it's like flying in the wind. I love when it's like down and like tired when he's being captured by the prison. And so every single time I'm assigned a Gojo pop, I typically try to just switch the hair up and keep it fresh. Much different to Bakugo, who has the same hair sculpt. Premature Death one, I was really particular about getting the spikes like evenly spaced out and everything. An Ivan sculpt. This would probably come pretty close to my favorite Gojo if it wasn't for that really super epic deluxe. Like the blue swirling around it with the rocks coming in. I'll be a little careful with costing on this. So what I did was basically nix the base and I was like, let's put all the base and the effects in the ball itself. You get the flying rocks, you get the 3 flurries of debris coming around into his ball, you get the beautiful hair, you get Gojo himself. Now, coming back to Itadori, shout out to Sarah Y. She does a freaking good job at her job. She watches all the animes, she's on top of this shit, she fights for them to look really good. I want to talk about this Itadori, specifically the effects. So when it came to these effects, we were having a little hard time trying to figure out what effects we wanted to put on Itadori here, and I wanted to give him something because he was a pop plus. This very quick moment, there's this very quick 1-second screenshot where this happened. And I was like, maybe we try to work in some of this effect, work in some of this red, this cool red effect that he had going on. Concepting Itadori is pretty hard, mainly because all the guy does is punch. It's either like a punch that's been thrown or a punch that's been pulled back. There's only so many like new ways that you can pose a punch. And so this one was concepted 3/4. We were able to wiggle the rules a bit and put out the render as the 3/4 render as concepted, which I loved because the front view just it looks a little uncanny and only it really works at this view. And I really loved how this one came out. You got his scar across his face, you got his hair pulled back, you got the freaking black flash happening with the cool red lightning effects around it. Some people were sad he was missing his hole in his teeth. I agree. In hindsight, I wish it was there. I feel like it would have totally added to it, having like his teeth peeking out. That was just a miss, dude. But otherwise, like the rest of this Itadori pop, I think looked really good. He turned out great. Next up, this Deku. So this Deku pop, sculpted by Ivan, was kind of a little bit of a breakthrough. Specifically, we were able to get the cell shading on his hair. We got the lightning on the eyes. I remember specifically working with Ivan, like, he was like, how are we gonna do the lightning coming out of the eyes? And then he thought of a really smart way, and then he fucking killed it, and it looks really good, and he sculpted the lightning around him, and this was like Deku's first real sort of like upgrade. Eri was like really just helping him take his power to the max. We got Eri on his shoulder. I remember, oh, how are we gonna put a freaking pop head on Deku's back and represent this correctly? And we just had her poking out from behind, and I thought it came out so good. This was just like, this was all around a great Deku. I love this arc. This was like the only other time where Deku was cool other than the Vigilante Deku. That Overhaul season was like fucking My Hero at its peak. This Dark Magician, this is the first Dark Magician that we've done since the original one. I wanted his effects to be big. I went with the two-tone, the blue and the purple, to do his dark magic attack, and it almost looks like he's like turning and bringing the effect with him. He's about to fling that shit at whatever dual monster he's facing off against. Sculpted by Corwin, legend. Sarah Gassman did the colors, but Corwin nailed it. He made it look really good. Both of us, me and Corwin, really wanted Dark Magician to stand on his own. But he requires a plug-in base, which it isn't the worst thing in the world, isn't it? It isn't a flight stand where it's like you get the whole like super distracting arm in the composition of the pop. He does require a little standing base, which, you know, I could live with. We both really wanted him to stand on his own with all of the effects around him. Like freaking Corwin like lifted him up. He's like elevated. He's got the effects around him. The dark magic attack is just in full force here, and it just looks super good. This is our final one. This is number 20. This was a Nate suggestion, by the way. When I got to like 15, I was like really struggling at which pops to put in here because, like, mind you, like I said at the beginning of the video, all of my favorite pops have not been announced yet, and they are coming quickly. So I really had to like look back and go as far back as I could from like 4 to 5 years ago. The one Nate suggested, this one, probably was my favorite for a very long time. It's an Ivan Sculpt. We found it. We figured out who it is. Of course, it's an Ivan sculpt. It looks amazing. It looks incredible. Ivan, you absolutely destroyed. You killed it. You as always. I don't quite remember what my concept looked like. All I know is this specific Tanjiro was kind of the opening of the gate when it comes to effects and bases and everything. This was the most we've ever put on a pop as far as like effects goes, and this water dragon just like peeking up from behind him, the water following the sword's trail. Like, really love how it just like comes around and behind him, and then you got all of the extra water pieces just like swirling around, elevating him up into the sky, with the dragon coming from behind his shoulder going like Rah! And also caused some problems after we made it because it was a little spendy. I mean, obviously, you can look at it. You can't really pull the trigger on something like this quite often, where you've got all of these amazing effects, like, kind of surrounding him with a whole extra dragon head coming out of it, all in one pop box, and it's not like a deluxe or anything. It's crazy that this was made. It was cool that we just, like, spent the costing to make this as cool as possible. To this day, like, it literally is just like one of the coolest Tanjiro pops we've ever made. Maybe this is just in the render, but just the way his like foot is kind of submerged in water in the render, it just like looks really good. There it is. There are my 20 favorite pops that we've put out as of now. The great thing about Funko is they keep putting these out. I'll probably have like another top 20 video come out like in a year, like highlighting all the new ones. This Hanji is kind of a good example of like when I feel like I had my like a creative awakening with wanting to like really make these pops immersive and cool. And like this Hanji, this Haku, Shigaraki, this Chainsaw Man, this Daki, this Muichiro. All the ones up here, definitely, I started really wanting to really get them done up with some fun effects and a cool base and everything. That's my top 20 pops. Figured this might be a good follow-up to the One Piece video. I'm so happy that you guys are like finding so much value out of me just like sitting here talking about some of the pops we've made in the past. Like, I plan to do more of these videos. I don't want to, I want to put a disclaimer that I don't think this is like my channel is going to be strictly Funko based. It's really cool that I can like kind of go in, pull these pops up and just talk about them a little bit. I still want to make videos about my other artwork, comic book. I am like dying to make like epic series of videos, might be like a 3-part series or just one really long video of like my whole development behind Sincerely Elise, which I can show you right here. This is literally my bread and butter. This is like my dream mission, is to create my own story with my own universe, with my own set of OCs that can just play in this world. This is only volume 1. There's 2 more volumes. I'm very close to being done with volume 2. Pretty soon, I think I'm gonna make a video of like the entire development behind this whole comic book. I'm freaking proud of this thing, and I want everybody to read it because I think it's something that everybody likes. Everybody that has read it has told me that they've liked it, but I just need to get it out to more people. I have more of those sets. I have the Dragon Ball set, I have the Attack on Titan set, I have the My Hero Academia set, the Jujutsu Kaisen set. I have all of those sets that I pulled up in that One Piece video. I could probably just do like a specific video and going through those sets and like adding fun design notes. I just want to let you know that this channel is probably going to be like a smorgasbord of just like art, me talking about things, Funko, Sincerely Elise, just drawing stuff. I don't really have much else to say. Thanks for sticking around to watch this video. One more massive shout out to the sculptors, to the color call out artists, to the packaging designers that package these guys, everybody else in between that works on them, PD, product managers of all of these projects. There's real people behind these pops that are making these pops. I just want you to know that there's like a lot of people working together to make these anime pops as cool as they can possibly be. We're not just like some factory of robots putting like square heads on top of figures. We are actually like putting thought and care into these things, really wanting them to succeed. We really just want to craft a universe around this style and make it as cool as possible. That's all my ramblings for today. Let me know what you thought. Leave a comment telling me what else you would like to hear me talk about. That would be very helpful. Then I can have some direct interactions with you. Subscribe to my channel, leave a like, hit the bell, all those things, and I will see you in the next one.